my time trying to raise money, but become a member, 15 cents a day, PrisonPlanet.tv. There she is, the winner. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time until the break. We're going to be right back. Stay with us.
Sick of the globalist eugenicist control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at INFOWARS.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. INFOWARS.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at INFOWARS.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139.
Again, thank you for joining us on this June 28th, 2012 transmission. A very sad day. The Supreme Court traitorously sided with Obama to say that they can take our money as a tax and redistribute it to offshore banks and corporations that want to create a monopoly and to illegal aliens as a domestic army against the Republic. This is sedition against the Republic. Unbelievable. And it's covered in the film by Joel Gilbert, award-winning documentary filmmaker, Dreams from My Real Father, a story of Reds and deception. My dad, who I respect a lot, smart guy, a physician, that day he heard the show, he came over and he said, I want a copy of that from our warehouse. And I said, here. And he said, I'm going to go, I mean, the interview sounded interesting, but I'm going to go watch this. I called him a few days later because we had him on last week. I finally called him this morning. I said, what'd you think? And he said, in fact, I wrote it down here, chillingly convincing. And my dad said it was horrifying to know how this guy has been manufactured. And my father follows the news, like many people, and he's noticed it's coming out that his dad wasn't tortured, you know, the fake one in Kenya, by the British. They now admit that's a fraud, and his name really was Barry Soetoro, and he really was in a mosque. He really did give up his citizenship in Indonesia. But that it was all another cover story, that the State Department had thrown out his Kenyan dad, said that he wasn't his dad, looks nothing like him. And then you look at all the new information that it turns out a couple of other investigative journalists pointed out years ago. Our guest, Joel Gilbert, discovered it on his own research, but that happens a lot with great findings, is that separate researchers come to the same point. And you see this film, Dreams from My Real Father, and we're going to get an update right now, and it is just unbelievable that this guy is an admitted pornographer. His father, the evidence is overwhelming, Frank Marshall Davis, an admitted communist, that Obama quotes his speeches word for word in his writings, that Obama's grandfather, and this is in the book Obama wrote, would go and visit weekly with this guy when his mother was out of the country, and that there was some weird unspoken thing between his grandfather and him. Well, yeah, it's his daddy. And he talks about him 20-something times in his book, and it goes on and on. And then his mother, clearly his mother in these porno photos with Mr. Davis coming out in his collection, and then there's Davis on the couch that she's on in the porno photos. It's mind-blowing. It goes on and on from there. But I want to talk about the fact that this film's starting to get attention despite corporate media blackout. By the way, it's available at InfoWarsShop.com. We have it if you want it, and you get a free Citizen Rulebook with it, and it supports our work, but also his work. InfoWarsShop.com. But I'm telling you, that's why I get so excited about this. This is coffin nails to these people. This is dynamite information. Talks like him, looks like him, hung out with him. The other guy's not his dad. State Department said that. Obama's got dead people's Social Security numbers. I'm going to shut up now. The point is they're sealing his records for a reason. The Kenya thing is a cover story. Incredible. Joel Gilbert, thank you so much for joining us today. There's a reason they never give us the real birth certificate. You've got the floor. Recap your discovery, where all this has gone, the response you're seeing here today with your remarkable film.
Thank you, Alex. Great to be back with you. Let me start by showing you a couple of things, and that in light of the healthcare ruling today, I want to show you this article. This was written by Frank Marshall Davis, Obama's real father. There he is. And he wrote this article in the Honolulu Record, Socialized Medicine Preferred. He also wrote an article for them called How to Become a Communist. And Obama bamboozled gullible middle-class America with a laughable illusion that he was the son of a Kenyan goat herder who stood above politics so he could bring people together. He sold himself as the multicultural ideal. So Barack Obama was perceived as a nice man with an inspiring family story. This film proves that Obama intentionally hid a deeply disturbing family background and a Marxist political foundation in order to get elected. The national health care for socialists and communists is simply a socialist tool to eliminate the upper and middle classes by transferring wealth. That's why poor quality, long waits, and higher taxes don't matter to them. They want to give away the middle class's health care to the poor and illegals. They want to tax and regulate middle class employers out of business, and they get to the point where the middle class retirement will evaporate into a bankrupt socialist state, and we'll just have one lower class of an impoverished society with the political elites that control the wealth. And Obama is planning that by the end of his next term, America will be irreversibly socialist without ever realizing how it happened. In the book, Dreams from My Father, that Obama wrote, has been discredited at every turn. He spends 2,500 words on Frank Marshall Davis, the only person that he names by his real name, and the only person that transcends 4 decades and 4 continents, from the beginning of his life all the way, even after Davis died, he talks about Davis. This is my DVD, which I know you're selling on INFOWARS.com, Dreams from My Real Father. This illustrates Obama's entire life in socialism. It explains how he arrived at Occidental College at age 18 as a committed revolutionary Marxist, and how Davis indoctrinated him during his formative years, after his mother brought him back from Indonesia. The film illustrates how the Kenyan Obama was simply a cover story that covered up an illicit affair. And we've discovered, as you've mentioned, 30 photos that Frank Marshall Davis took of Obama's mother, Ann Dunham, that shows that there was an intimate relationship.
And by the way, it's admitted. He later came out and admitted he was a secret pornographer, publishing under pseudonyms, did these Betty Page deals. These are his. It's a dead ringer for Obama's mother with this other woman on his couch that he does in all these interviews that you have film of and photos. I mean, it's just, you've got him. I'm sorry. It's just unbelievable.
Well, not only that, because I did so much investigation, I've got continuing information still coming out as breaking news. I've got letters that Davis wrote in his own handwriting. They're being published next Monday by the WorldNet Daily. By the way, they had a wonderful Happy Father's Day. They wished last week to Frank Marshall Davis right there.
Who's doing that, Corsi or Farah? Because I want to get both of them on with you.
Corsi will be writing about these letters where Davis writes in his own handwriting. He says that he was the author of Sex Rebel Black, that it was all true. It was an autobiography. He also has many more nefarious things he writes that I'll wait. You can check WorldNet Daily next Monday. It's going to be out, and you can see the whole story. The point, though, is that Obama has a very dark background. His father was 25, 30 years under FBI surveillance. He was alleged to be a Soviet spy, and this was possibly real because Communist Party USA had many spies, including those that stole U.S. nuclear atomic secrets and gave them to the Russians, helping to ignite the Cold War. Davis was a propagandist and an ideologue. And in today's ruling, really every day, anything Obama says or does, you can see his infatuation with this failed ideology. Socialism failed in Russia. It failed in Europe. It's failing all over the world. But they don't think that maybe there's something wrong with the system. They think it's the wrong person. The right person has to implement this deadly Marxist agenda and eliminate all the upper and middle classes. This film shows his entire life in socialism, and I urge everyone to go to INFOWARS.com and please buy a copy of the DVD.
Very well said. There's a lot of other facets to this that we didn't cover because I've since watched the film a second time.
Okay.
I mean, really, people need to get a copy at InfoWarsShop.com. But more importantly, just walk through what they're going to see. Give people a boil down of the film and why it's so important.
Well, it's going to start by showing Obama's early family history. And you can just take a checklist of everything in Obama's book and everything in my film. You can start with his early family history, and it's obvious from the facts, from the proven facts, that Obama's story that his father went to Harvard when he was 2 years old and it broke up the family is false. There never was an Obama family, ever. There's no evidence his parents even met in the 60s. So my film shows an intimate relationship between Davis and Dunham, and then a lifelong nurturing of Obama by Davis throughout his teenage years. Then Obama arrives at Occidental College, goes to all the Marxist meetings with the Marxist professors. He goes to New York City, just like in his book, but he has all benevolent things going on. We show the reality. He attended socialist scholars conferences. Only committed Marxists went to these conferences. I believe we have evidence he was involved in something called the May 19 Communist Organization, which was an above-ground front group for the old Weather Underground. We've got him involved in that, whereas he doesn't even say where he was or what he did during those years at Columbia. It's like a missing time. He says he was in the library, but we think otherwise. He goes to Chicago, and we've given evidence it was with the help of Bill Ayers' father, Thomas Ayers, that got him a grant. And Obama follows in his real father's footsteps in reverse. Davis went from Chicago to Hawaii to organize. He was sent by the Communist Party to help orchestrate a takeover of the island on the orders of the Kremlin through Communist Party USA, because they wanted to get rid of U.S. forces in Hawaii, which were an obstacle to Soviet expansion in Asia. So Obama follows in his father's footsteps in reverse. He goes from Hawaii to Chicago to organize, and he's got his network, his father's network there, the Jarrett family, Valerie Jarrett's father, Vernon Jarrett, Bill Ayers' father.
That's why all these incredible elitist terrorist weathermen bring him in like a prince. I mean, the entire time. But again, then you've got the CIA connections in the family. Some researchers think that they were like deep cover infiltrating the communists, but then you've got the pornographers and all this. Bottom line, Obama is totally blackmailed by this information.
There's no question. I think it's very dangerous when the President of the United States has such secrets. He can easily be blackmailed. People don't talk about it much, but I've